Evening everybody, and welcome back to another Meccano video. And far easier these are to do than the shooting videos, but it's nice to have a little bit of a change. So here we have the what is one of the very latest sets to land on the market. This is the Meccano Maker System Ducati Monster 1200S set. It's for 10 plus years, 292 parts, and despite its not massive box size, and we'll just show you that now, we're looking at about roughly 12 3/4 inch. That's about 32 centimeters, and about 7 3/4 inch. That's just under 20 centimeters, and a couple of inches deep, about 50 mil. Despite its fairly small size box, it is quite a weighty set, and that points to being quite a full box, and that always looks better than a large box with just a few bags in. So then, what do I think? Well, it looks rather smart, even though it's not quite my cup of tea in real terms of motorbikes. I prefer a Ducati 916 myself, or a variant of that, especially as here in the UK, Carl Fogarty is still pretty much still a favourite bike racer, although he hasn't raced for 16 years, but still a very popular chap and good all-round bloke, really, I suppose. So I reckon in the UK that it would a 916 version would have sold quite well. But of course that's only here in the UK, so it may have not sold anywhere else, so I suppose it's not a very good thing to be too specific for some things. But it's certainly got some nice looking parts, especially those wheel rims and the tyres. Looking forward to getting to those. I can see some uses for those, and I dare say, given time and a bit of imagination, the new plastic parts will also find a bit of use elsewhere. And also, I may be able to use this as a basis for a 916 version using flexible red plates, maybe. But we'll see on that one. It's RRP at the moment, which is no real surprise there. You may get it cheaper by ordering it in from France, but then I suppose it depends on the postage from Amazon France. This was UK buy, $29.99 RRP. Came with another set, and both came free post with Royal Mail 48 hour. Well packed, no problems. As you can see, the box is pristine. It won't be in a bit because I'm going to open it. So, as usual, shop around, although it's a bit early really to find much in the way of, well, I wouldn't say bargains because it's too new for that, but cheaper sets. Although you may pick up something, mainly from Amazon France, possibly. But of course, always factor in the postage, which sometimes is very reasonable. So folks, it's a Chinese made set, hence the normal flip, or flap I should say really, type boxes. No serrated seal, and held together by sellotape. That should be it, and here we are. I'll turn it round so it's the right way up. Seems quite a robust box, which is always good, and it's nice to see a well matched size box for the parts inside that box. It just looks better. You open the box, you think, oh blimey, there's a lot there, and then you open a big box with next to nothing, and it's like 3 small bags or something, and you think, oh, is that it? Of course, I've said that many times regarding parts and packaging, boxes. They still don't look as good as a proper laid out polystyrene box, say, but of course that costs money. So anyway, I won't go on about that again too much. What have we got then? Let's have a look here. I can see all those red bits being very popular. Nice to see some different coloured brackets. Reds are not common at all in certain ones, like these narrow obtuse angle brackets, I suppose you call those. These 1 inch by ½ inch obtuse angle brackets, usually zinc, of course those are usually zinc. The other narrow strips, some of them are certainly available, like those there, that one there between my thumbs, that's available, I think that is anyway, in the small rescue set, the E3 model set. We've got a nice long bolt. Where are we? There it is, tidy. Yeah, very long bolt. Looks like we've got a couple of those, so very handy. Several longer bolts from certainly 9mm up to what, 23 I guess, just looking at them. Ah, I see something that's handy that you don't tend to get very often these days. I don't know how many's in the set, but we'll have a look at the parts list later. We've got the 3/4 inch washer there. Nice to see again. Compression springs. So something moves, presumably the rear swing arm. Round axle there. That's good. What we got here? Ah, now here, without even looking at the parts list, looks like a good set to buy for washers. Several there. There's several more in the bag. So we'll see how many we get them. Loads of plastic spacers, that's normal I suppose. Not many standard nuts and bolts. That's a surprise. So that points to most of the construction being done with longer bolts, just like Meccano, I suppose. Ah, see quite a few new parts here. Plastic parts, they do look well made. Some strange looking parts. Presumably that there is for the wheels, I don't know, we'll find out. It's got a headlight, that's the back of it. I like things like the lights because it does add a bit of character to a vehicle, you know, not having lights. Even if they don't work, you know, it gives it its face, you know, personality I suppose. Oh, we've got a big bag here. We have, certainly, by the looks of it, those are same as Meccano parts by the looks of it, although they do seem a little bit shorter, but very similar, in black. And you might use them to change the colour scheme on your Meccano, I suppose. The wheels, plastic, but build your own spokes. That's the front wheel by the look of it, look at that cross section, and that's the rear wheel, which looks a little fatter, but I'm not sure it is. Let's have a look at that. Hey, the bag opened without me having to wrench my arms up. That's very good. Okay, we'll have a look at these tyres now. Oh, they look the same. Yeah, they look about the same actually. I think it's the artwork on the box. Yeah, about the same. Yeah, certainly plastic of some description, but quite. It should be quite easy to get on. They flex quite well as long as they don't fall off, of course. Those wheels. Let's have a look at those wheels. Look nicely made. No extra bits of moulding by the looks of it. Seem nicely done. So I like the look of those. I like the look of those indeed. As what is usual now in the perhaps kits for the older age limits or slightly older, you tend to have the shall we say posher Allen driver. There we are. I haven't had one of them wear out, but I've had plenty of the small ones wear out, but I do use them. I do tighten stuff up quite tightly, especially on stuff I really want tight. Something I'm making at the moment, which remains a secret for now. That has had some use. I've got through about 4 Allen keys on that one, and it's really need that to be secure. And of course the spanner. I've also had some of these, not that many to be honest, compared to the Allen keys. But I have had some where the open end has opened up and it's scrapped then really. So there may be a need to beef up the size of these spanners. Of course, being the Chinese one, it seems that they come zinc plated, which I do prefer. I find it a bit more grippy than the silver paint. Last bag then of parts, nothing spectacular there by the looks of it. All pretty well common parts that you get today, all plastic in there. Right, the instruction book. We've got a little Ducati label. Let's get rid of the box for a second. I like it when they put the instruction books in these bags. It does help to keep the bags, books, sorry, rather nicely flat in the boxes during transit. I haven't had one that's been damaged yet. I might have had a slight crease, but generally they've always been pretty good. And we have the instruction book there. This little card here is the stickers. There's some stickers there. Look well printed. And here we've got the instructions. Where's my pointer? There we are. So pretty much common sort of layout now, with the livery, the Meccano Maker System livery, the red and white essentially. Of course this one's a little bit more specific, being the licensed product type. So you've got exactly what it is there. That leaves nothing to the imagination. You know exactly what it is, the name of it, and of course there's no problems with that because there's only one model. Let's have a look inside then. Turn over the first page. As usual, here we've got some how-tos, but looking at some things, there are some things that are slightly different. I'm guessing, I haven't seen anything, this is a general how-to one now, because we've got a couple of things I haven't seen. The basic types, how to use lock nuts together and use nylock nuts and allowing strips to pivot or not, that sort of thing. Different ways to use the spanner. We've got, I haven't noticed in any other instructions, but it may have been in some of them, now notably the Mountain Rally set. Here we've got how to use the pins, those new plastic pushing pins, which actually, as long as they are long enough for what you want, they're quite useful. Looks like here's some sort of ball and socket set up there, using parts with nuts but no spanner, with moulding sections in the parts. Those of you who've done mechanoids, you will be quite familiar with that. And it looks like instructions on how to put the new types of tracks together, which is on the other set I've got, and that probably gives you away what that one is. So let's have a look through a few of the pages, and I've read something today on the internet about the black parts. Looks like in part anyway, the black parts aren't outlined with the white outline. Now we've got it on this side here, but we haven't got it here with that section. But then again, I suppose, looking at it there on these two pages, it shows you what to do with that strip there, so you can see what to do. Now you've done that, so there's no real need to highlight it there, I suppose, but I would have thought it would have been easier to keep one format. So again, we've got it here, the white outline, putting the darker parts on, but really, apart from locating and see which holes are which, there's not really any need for that. There's no black on black there, but yeah, there are. It's quite blocky, which is one of the complaints. Perhaps just after Spin Master took over, not a complaint at the Spin Master stuff, but the stuff that preceded it, and it may have been a complaint to the old owners, I don't know, but yeah, it is a little bit blocky in places, but you can make out the holes and things. It's all fairly well laid out, the usual 13, 14, 15. That's a bit different. I mean, they have been more like this more often, 16, 17, 18, 19. This one is a little bit out of that sequence, but yeah, it all looks fairly clear. I mean, apart from it's slightly blocky on the black stuff. So let's just scoot through and have a look, see how many sections there are. So we've got 58. The last one is just putting the stickers on, and this is the perhaps most important bit. We've got the parts list. So folks, here's the parts list, a bit more close-up view for you. Majority of the new plastic parts are down here, not everything of course, but most of them there are. Wheels there, tyres, headlight, what looks like the spokes for the wheels there. There's 4 of those, and looking at this picture you must lay them. The pieces that make up what look like the tank lowers, I wouldn't call it a fairing. Some others there. Down here we've got quite common now, narrow 1/4 inch hole spaced strips, but the red quite uncommon except for perhaps those. Down here nothing really new looking at it. Again, we do have the red on some parts that we perhaps not accustomed to, and we've got some red narrow angle brackets. That's useful. One part I'm struggling for at the moment is fish plates, and you don't get many, if any, fish plates in many sets these days. This is one that you do, but you only get one, so you don't make it a very good set to buy if you're just after fish plates and you need a few of them. Fixings wise and axles, there's one 50mm axle, one 40mm, both seem to be round. We've got 2 44.5mm bolts, 6 38mm bolts, a 32mm, and then we drop down to 25.4, and all the way down we have quite a few 9mm, 25 9mm. We only have 7 standard length bolts. We do have 56 nuts, 5 nylock nuts, and this is the best thing so far to me. There's 28 standard washers in the set, which is very good for this day and age to get that many washers. It would, off the top of my head, would be one of the better sets to buy for washers. Still expensive of course, but needs must sometimes. And of course the standard tools just off the bottom of the page there. So overall then, we've got a fair few parts, nearly 300. Everything looks quite decent in regards to the set itself. The instructions seem to be clear enough, a little bit dark in places, but no obvious problems so far. So there we are folks, the Meccano Maker System Ducati Monster 1200S Motorbike set. 292 parts for 10 plus years. We'll show the new wheels before we go. Again, new tyres. Usual spanner and the more, shall we say, posh Allen drive, which is pretty common now in the more, shall we say, detailed sets. Certainly a bit more the more expensive sets of the special editions. Instruction book. Quite Meccanoid-esque parts in these black pieces. They may be exactly the same size, but without putting them alongside some Meccanoid parts I couldn't say, but they do look quite similar. Small plastic parts, quite new plastic parts in the main. Got standard nuts and bolts, not many standard bolts. Plastic spacers, washers, and small washers are metal of course, small rubber grommets. Longer bolts and some zinc plated parts, and looking at that the zinc looks very good. More longer bolts, everything's sliding away from me, and perhaps some common, certainly narrow strips, but perhaps in slightly more unusual colours, being red instead of zinc for the main. So there we go folks, that's the Ducati Monster set. And next up we've got another brand new set.